All right, it's time to go live. Salam. Salam to everybody. I'm going to be studying a little bit of Persian today. I use a couple of different resources for this. I may take a few minutes as you all slowly trickle in to tell you a couple of stories about Persian and maybe some of my background with this. So I just like Persian. I don't really have a real reason to study it. I've studied it off and on. I was introduced to it in part by my wife, who just likes Persian. There's not there's not a lot there. I mean, she's friends of the family who are Persian, so she had familiarity with the language, having just heard it. But we have no real reason to study or learn it. I see a few hellos in the chat. So you know, I like it. I think it's a beautiful language. It is an Indo-European language that is a distant cousin to a lot of the languages that I do speak some of, and I like seeing those connections and some of that history. For anybody who is unfamiliar with Persian, it is the language of Iran. It's really it has a tremendous history. And we have some really interesting, documents and I guess stelas and monuments that have old Persian in it. With the Arab conquest, there's a tremendous number of loanwords from Arabic. There's also, just because of the history of the region, loanwords from French. And then there's also all this stuff that is related, but like distantly related. So I like it a lot. I see in the chat, finally, the prettiest language. Just a check. Can everybody hear me just fine? Do I need to be closer to my microphone or not? I did a test earlier and I was very quiet. I see it's the prettiest language. I see people talking about exactly it's spoken in Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and minority language in Uzbekistan as well. So I joke a little bit that it's the forbidden language for me. I cannot go to Iran. I cannot go to Afghanistan now. Maybe sometime in the future, but now it's definitely outside of the realm of possibility. Good, I see you all saying that I can be heard. And Language Simp is here. Good to see you. Good to see you. Is that your full legal name? Let me know. I'm going to be looking at the Routledge Colloquial Persian Complete Course for Beginners. I'm not sharing everything. That would be, I think, probably a copyright violation. So I'll be sharing some excerpts from it as I study and just show you a little bit about how I study the language, or really any language. But I really like this textbook. So I have a link somewhere. I'll make sure that it is. I already see, yes, it is. Language Jones is not my real name, but it kind of stuck. I have a Language Jones. I Jones for languages. I like them a lot. So I also have some other courses. The Thaxton Introduction to Persian. This one my daughter loves. She can't read, but it is a very pretty cover. And that makes one of us who really likes it. It is very dry. It is a classic academic grammar. So it makes things that are fairly simple sound fairly complicated. And it's very, very focused on the literary language. So it's fun, but it's maybe not ideal for what I want to do. And I haven't actually told everybody what I want to do. So I have an opportunity to go to a place where Persian is spoken, in the United States, obviously. And I have about a month and a half, 2 months to do so. And I would like to make some YouTube videos in Persian if I can. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to swing that, but I have 2 months and I have an actual reason, albeit very artificial, to study Persian. And I'm always looking for a reason, because without a reason, I just don't have the motivation. So I see people mentioning they like the Routledge. I like the Routledge Complete Course for Beginners, the colloquial. They have another one that I have on my shelf somewhere, and it is probably pretty good if you have a teacher and you're in a classroom setting, but it has no transliteration. It has very few translations. It's got no vowels. It's aggressively typeset, really. And I don't like that. So real quick before I get started, one of the things that one of my fondest memories of Persian is a time that I was deposed as an expert witness. And within the context of this deposition, we were talking about African American English, and the opposition lawyer asked me if I could recognize every language in the world, because she said, "How can you tell that the client, that your lawyer's client is speaking African American English. And I said, well, there's all these linguistic reasons and yada, yada, yada. And she said, oh, so you can just tell a language by listening to it? And I'm like, that's kind of a thing that people can do. And it was a very contentious deposition. So she said, well, if I speak in a language, then you should be able to tell me what it is. And I said, absolutely not. There's like 7,000 languages in the world. And she said, well, if it's a widely spoken one. I said, maybe, try me. The judge at this point was annoyed. He's like, where is this going? And so she said, okay, I'm going to say a word and you tell me what language it is. And she goes, merci. And I look her dead in the eye and I say, Farsi. And the surprise, because she thought I was going to say French, obviously. It is a loan word from French. But there's a couple of elements there where she said, merci, where the R is not the way it's pronounced in French. The intonation pattern is different. And this is one of the stories that I like telling because ultimately what happened is this guy was awarded a settlement that was great for him. You don't need to know a lot of the details of the case, but all you need to know is the guy had lost his job, lost his car, was on the verge of losing his house, and it was a wrongful termination, which now we have legally. It was a wrongful termination. And so, I have no real reason to learn Farsi, but having studied a little bit of Farsi was one of the things that actually got me through that deposition and got me to the point where the opposition counsel embarrassed themselves. So you never know when studying a language is going to come in handy. If you say, I don't know, maybe you need to be able to pronounce "uy" really well for for something. You have no idea how these things are going to come in handy. So let's get started. I am going to share my screen. This is the textbook. I have a link for it if anybody wants to buy it, an Amazon affiliate link. There are others. I really like this one. I like this series. So Routledge, if you're out there, I like your textbooks, and I'm encouraging people to read them and use them, and hopefully this is, something that you like and that falls under fair use. All right, a little bit of coffee too. So first things first, the thing that I like about this textbook is that it is, one, it comes with audio, which is very, very helpful, and two, it comes with lots and lots and lots of transliteration, and it's focused on casual speech. So the Persian alphabet is not hard. It can be quite beautiful. The Thaxton textbook actually has a lot of really beautiful reading and writing exercises. If you can see, I probably can't see those, but let me try to get you a little bit in the light here. So if you can see this, it's beautiful. But if I want to go someplace and speak the language, being able to decode that is not going to be a really good use of my time in the next couple of months. So I'm going to go through this. I've already read a few chapters. I am not going to go through all of the spelling rules and all of the letters. But what I am going to do is give you an idea of how I like to approach this stuff by just doing it, just modeling it. I'm going to use the textbook. I'm going to use the audio. The audio is freely available on Routledge's website, so you can check that out. You can listen on your own. And what I have done is downloaded it, and I'm going to play some of it in Prot, perhaps, just to compare. So, yeah, let's see. I see people talking about Asimil, which I haven't tried yet. And a couple of questions. Do they write out the vowels in Persian? Not generally. So let me make this, let's see, single page continuous. This is what it will look like just in general. Print typeset, there's no vowels. So this is Salam, so Bekher. This is an easy one. They're just starting with greetings and leave taking. So Salam, so Bekher, and Khodafez, Shab Bekher. So Shab, evening. You have, good night and so on. I may go through and look at some of the etymologies as we go because I find that very fun. But this is something that I'm going to skip through a little bit. If you don't know any Farsi, then, pick up the book. I'm going to keep it moving. So one of the things that I do like about this, they do have, you can see some of the parentheses around H's that maybe aren't really usually pronounced. And what I will say is that the writing system that they use here in transliteration is using a macron over the A to represent the aw sound in Persian, and the regular A, I guess, lowercase a, is a, as in ash. They do a little hat on S's to make the sh sound. So it's all these diacritics rather than you look at it and you don't know, if it's, well, what it is. So let's see. I've looked at these. I'm going to go through and look at some of the grammar lessons here because I find this stuff really interesting. I think this is where I'm going to benefit. So first of all, there is a verb to be in the present tense. And I have a little pen set up here too. So I can actually take some notes on this if I can avoid spilling my coffee. I am like nested in here. There's an interesting thing here that everybody should probably be able to see is that there's a stem. The stem is hast. And then there's endings on the verb stem here. Now this is the long form. There are short forms, and in colloquial Persian, not only is there a short form, but the short form of the third person is just a. I find this fascinating because in French, est is a, and in Persian, what used to be ast, ast, is also now a, and it's totally different reasons. But this is the long form. Notice the stem here, if you all see this, is hast, and then they have the pronouns here. So man, to, u, colloquially un or on. So un khub ast, un khube, ma khub hastim, shema khub hastid, ona khub hastand. Now, this textbook has already said that they're going to write it like this, hastid and hastand. But let me actually scroll so I know that you can see what I'm saying. So they're going to write it like this, but they've made it clear that hastid is equivalent in not careful speech to hastin, and hastand is hastan. And if you speak any Romance languages, if you speak French, for instance, these spellings look familiar, right? This is not completely foreign. It's just distantly related. So the and, that looks like the ENT ending in verbs in French. Khub here is good. And I'm going to find some audio to kind of work on this, but I just wanted to make sure that we're all kind of on the same page here. Routledge does make a bunch of good grammar books, and I have pitched them on something I should follow up. I pitched them on writing a grammar for one of their series. So let me clear this away. So we got man, to, u. There's no gender, so u is both. He, she, it in some cases. Un, and then mo, shamo, uno. H's aren't always pronounced in like a lot of languages. So let's see. Let's have some fun here. U doctorast, u doctor hast. So they're saying that the long form is used when it is contrastive focus. So what I need to know really is that hast is emphasis. And also pronouns are emphasis. It's like one of those languages where, because if I scroll back up, you can see this is very clear from the ending on the verb who we're talking about. So hastam, hasti, ast, hastim, hastid, hastand. Those are, they separate out. So I don't need to say man khub hastam. And if I say man khub hastam, what I have learned from some of these other books is that that's really saying like, me, I'm good, as opposed to, khubam. Which we'll see shortly in one of these. Also, there's vowel elision. So if you saw my recent video, this is something that you might expect. So shamo ast becomes shamost. That's easy. So let's find something to listen to as I scroll a little bit. Oh, I like this. Plural, third person they, right? Third person singular they, as a sign of respect. So a more polite form for u would be ishun. That is historically a plural. It is they. And you use it with a singular. So the example given here is ishun khanome Johnson hastand. Please feel free to leave comments on my pronunciation. And ishun agaye Johnson hastand. They are Mrs. Johnson. They are Mr. Johnson. More directly translated. So this is great stuff. I see Persian is pro drop. Yes. So questions are very similar. I think the main takeaway here, because I have skimmed the first couple of chapters, is that questions tend to have WH words in situ, and we'll talk about those. That's actually where I'm going to spend more time. So let's do let's listen. Let's listen to the comprehension on CD. It's track 16 or something. CD1 track 16. Let's do it. Because I could definitely benefit from hearing some Persian that isn't my own. CD1 track 16. Let's see if I can. There we go. And let's open with Prot just for fun. I could use Audacity for something like this. I really don't care which one. Prot I just like because I know how to read a spectrogram pretty well, so it's more useful to me. It can be a little annoying because I wouldn't be surprised if some of the early stuff is them explaining what the conversation is, but we'll find out.
Unit 1, Comprehension.
Right, Unit 1, Comprehension. Okay. Now they're going to tell us so-and-so is doing such and such.
A woman has just called into a travel agency. Listen to her conversation with the travel agent.
Okay, I don't need any of that. Let's see if this...
What is the travel agent offering her?
Okay, so unsurprisingly, it looks like this band, where they're a little bit larger, is the actual audio. So let's play... Let's just go all the way in.
سلام آقا.
Could have told you that's what there was. So, Salam Aga.
سلام آقا.
Now, this, what's written as like Ain in Arabic is a in the IPA, it's a capital G, and it is Qa. It gets reduced a little bit, so you can see, actually, if you can see my mouse here, so Sa, this where it is the L, Lom, this is Om, and then here is that sound. You have what's referred to as a velar pinch, where you can see these two kind of areas of lines look like they make a little chromosome here or something, like they make an X, where it pinches here. You got a dip here. It's a little frication, so it's something where I can listen to it a few more times.
سلام آقا.
Salam Agha. Let's just listen to Agha because that's really hard for people. So let's see, the little depression there is an M, and this should be it.
آقا. آقا.
It sounds like Maga because she's opening her mouth. Okay.
آقا.
Oh, good little clipping there because Prat is sometimes annoying.
آقا. آقا. آقا.
So I am in Persian can be am too. That is exactly, I see that in chat. That is exactly how I remember it. It's literally just am at the end. It's like historically, I'm not making any claims about those being related words, but it's a very, very helpful coincidence. Okay, so salam. Let's actually Prat's kind of slow, so let's do this where we listen to it a little bit in something that's a little bit better, and then just save Prat for when we have to. I'll try Audacity. Why not? I just want to skip the guy talking about, like, imagine you're in an airport. Imagine you're in the airport in Tehran. I'm like, I would prefer not to. Thank you. All right, so I have opened Audacity. It's on my other screen. Let me pull it over for you all. Notice it's in stereo, right? That's nice. Let's listen to... Let's just take the first chunk here.
سلام آقا.
سلام خانم. عصر بخیر. بفرمایید.
Okay, so he's saying, for those of you who know enough Persian to follow along, he is saying, hello, miss. Hello, ma'am. Salam khanum. Does he say khanum or khanam? I think they may have khanam in there.
سلام خانم.
Khanum.
عصر بخیر. بفرمایید.
So Asr Bekhair is good afternoon. Asr is afternoon. Bekhair is good. Befarmayin. Does he say farmayin?
سلام خانم. عصر بخیر. بفرمایید.
Befarmayin. That one I may want to actually see in Prat because that sounds like an N. So we have the text Befarmayid, but he's actually saying, what is he actually saying? By the way, yes, this is actually how I most prefer to study. But I think this is really helpful. Like, it's really breaking things down. This is how I would use this textbook, ideally. And when I do it on a live stream, I can say, no, listen, I have to go do an hour of this.
بفرمایید. بفرمایید.
This sounds like What does it sound like?
بفرمایید. بفرمایید. بفرمایید.
Actually, it sounds like
بفرمایید. بفرمایید.
maybe there's some nasalization on the vowel, but this actually sounds... Did I cut off like a release? Yes, I maybe did.
بفرمایید. بفرمایید.
So I can see the vowel here. O, T, and then I don't know why I have it cut off at 8,000 hertz here. That's, I guess, for the sibilants. What is this? Nothing. It's just a glitch on the system. Okay.
Wait.
This looks like nasalization, so it's like it's a little bit depressed. Bet you didn't think you were getting a lesson on how to read a spectrogram, but you are. So بفرمایید. Let's hear this again in Audacity and then keep it moving.
بفرمایید. بفرمایید.
All right. Okay, so what do we have? We have, this is their little comprehension test. So, salam آقا. Salam خانم. He says خانم instead of خانم. عصر بخیر. بفرمایید. And they have بفرمایید, which is the standard here. So he's going to say, or she's going to say عصر بخیر again, because we're learning these words. ببخشید. شما آقای, what is that? Cameron هستید? So are you Mr. And I'm going to hear how they say it. And he'll be like, ballet.
عصر بخیر. ببخشید.
Oh, we got a lot of spaces in between these. ببخشید.
شما آقای کامران هستید؟
کامران.
شما آقای کامران هستید؟
So this is great. The by the way, now's a great time to talk about word final devoicing. The D's and various other sounds devoice at the end of a syllable, and especially at the end of a word. What's great here is that this is like it's like a very soft release. So she says, what I would have said is hastid, and I'm hearing that it's something closer like hastid.
شما آقای کامران هستید؟
Hastid. It's like, it's I'm gonna make a video on ASMR at some point, but it's a little ASMR-y, right? It's a little. Okay, شما. Let's hear it again.
شما آقای کامران هستید؟
شما آقای کامران هستید. All right, I'm taking a look at the chat. Sounds like the famous Louis. Yeah, every language I feel like has one sound or combination of sounds that's like its signature difficult thing. Let's see. A nasal consonant precedes the vowel that you're trying to describe. Yes, that is correct. Okay, so let's see. This conversation, we'll finish it out and then we'll look at something a little bit more interesting. So ballet. Oh, look at this. What am I doing? I just said I don't want to waste my time on the script when I don't have to. So I will stop inadvertently showing off. And I will go back to... do I have this on continuous? Let's go. I'm going to go to... Here you go. The transliteration. This should be a lot easier for all of you to follow along as well. If you're not, super into Persian, even if you are, probably still easier. All right, so bale بفرمایید. Okay. Man Ahmadi hastam. Ahmadi, let's see how they say it. Let's go. Survey says.
بله بفرمایید.
من احمدی هستم.
So bale. I wonder what accent this is. Can anybody tell me where the female speaker is from? Because she says something that's a little interesting from what I've heard. She says, it sounds almost like man instead of man.
من احمدی هستم.
Right? Man Ahmadi hastam.
آها بله.
That's what? Aha, yes? Yeah, okay. Aha, bale.
خانم احمدی این بلیط برای شماست. این پیغام هم برای شماست.
Okay, they've taught us some of these words. I'm going to break this down a little bit more because this is great listening to fast speech.
خانم احمدی
Khanum Ahmadi, that's Miss Ahmadi. It's an izafa construction. Khanum is miss. A connects one noun to another noun. So Khanum Ahmadi. Let's see. What does he say?
این بلیط برای شماست.
In bilit baraye shamost. Bilit is billet in French. Billet. It's a ticket.
این بلیط برای شماست.
Baraye shamost.
این بلیط برای شماست.
این بلیط برای شماست. So that would be, what would that be? That is, this ticket is for you. Baraya is, belongs to or is for, intended for.
این پیغام هم برای شماست.
Ooh,
این پیغام هم برای شماست.
in pegham ham bare shamost. This package is also for you. So in pegar. So let's. That's actually cool.
این پیغام هم برای شماست.
So it sounds like they kind of bleed together. Ham is also, but it's ham bare shamost.
این پیغام هم برای شماست.
And baraya sounds like bare.
این پیغام هم برای شماست.
Nice. Do they have that as baraya shamost? In pegham ham baraya shamost. But he says in pegham ham bare shamost. That's nice. Ham bare. Obviously, I would say ham baraya, but to be able to hear this is going to be really helpful.
این پیغام هم برای شماست.
Because I would have parsed it as, I would have been trying to lexically retrieve in my brain the word hambar, which maybe I'm just hungry, but it's not going to be helpful.
خیلی ممنون.
سفر بخیر.
So, khayli mamnoon, thank you, safar bekhair, have a good trip. So we're doing everything like shab bekhair, sob bekhair, safar bekhair, everything bekhair, you're learning bekhair, you're speaking bekhair, everything bekhair. Okay.
مرسی. خدا حافظ.
خدا حافظ.
There it is. Merci. Khuda hafiz. May God keep you. Okay. Let me close this, and I'm going to keep it moving. I'm going to do a little bit more analysis. I'm enjoying just breaking down the sound. And one of the things that I like doing, maybe you like it, maybe you don't. You can let me know in the chat if this works for you or if it doesn't work for you. I like to break it up. I like to balance doing a little bit of listening, and then before I burn out on that, go study a little bit of grammar, and then before I burn out on that, go try to like come up with some sentences, and then before I burn out on that, go back to some listening. So it's kind of a, I'm spiraling. It's hopefully an upward spiral. So save changes, absolutely not. Let me also close out prot because this is computationally intensive for no reason. Totally useless. Prot is one of those things that if you're not a linguist, just there's no reason to waste your time with it. Okay, so we have what time of day is it? What do they say? Asr becher, so that's afternoon. These are really good. I was talking with my father-in-law the other day, if you're watching, hi, about these textbooks and things. When they ask you these questions, like, I don't want to do the exercises. That's lame. I hate it. You're asking me stupid questions that I don't like. But I will absolutely sit there and come up with my own questions for like an afternoon. I have no idea why I find it more fun when I'm the one doing it, but I will absolutely do exactly that. I see a bitrate warning, but I think that sometimes goes away. So let's hope that it does. Okay, that was fun. It's chapter 1, obviously just greetings. Unit 2, they talk about family and health. I've looked at a lot of the vocabulary here, and it's, you know, how are you? Kind of the basic stuff that you start with. So, allo, alidron, salam. Chatori, that's how are you? Khubam, merci. This is the basics that you're getting into. So this is a good way to start a textbook. So they have a little joke in here, which is great. Like I said, I'm not going to go through all of this. But what I do want to focus on is something that it definitely conflicts with the kind of classic grammars of Persian that that one tends to see. So in Thaxton, for instance, he talks about how you say like a, like the indefinite, and there's a whole chapter on this where you have like actually let me let me give you a taste of this so you know what kind of stuff linguists just regularly subject ourselves to. Let me switch the view and I will just read this to you for a moment and you can hear how delightfully bonkers this is. Now this, I will say Thaxton, yeah, I always want to add an R, say Thraxton. Thaxton is very much a like philologist who wants to talk about, you know, the standard language, the literary language. He has a whole section in the back of like, these are incorrect things that people do. And it's like, that's actually the spoken language. But he says, let's see, word order, stress and intonation. He's got this whole chapter on this. It's crazy. All right. Yes. States of the noun. Already we're off to an exciting start here. There is no definite article, parentheses, the. or indefinite article, parentheses, a, in Persian. The Persian noun exists in two states instead. The absolute and the non-specific, which he will take in turn. So the absolute, the noun is in its absolute state the noun in its absolute state, that is, with no suffix or enclitic, indicates both the specific singular and the generic, which is generally rendered in English by the plural. Libraries contain books. Thus, kitab means both the book, about which we already know something, and books in general. And then he gives kitab khubast, the book, specific is good, or books, generic, are good. And he gives a couple other examples. Then he says, the non-specific state of the noun is formed by adding the indefinite enclitic and unstressed e to the noun, or probably e. Because this ending is enclitic and therefore unstressed, the final syllable of the absolute state retains the stress. You have to decipher this in order to understand what he's even talking about. The non-specific state indicates a particular thing or one of a class. So he says to say a book, you would say kitabi. And then he goes on to say that basically you can, that the plural renders something specific again. So kitab ha is the books. And then if you want to say like some books, several books, kitab hoi. And then later on, he goes on to say that you can modify all this stuff with adjectives and so on and so on. And kind of compare. So he has like kitab hoi kamelan no, some brand new books. And he starts building longer and longer. So he says, Khuneye kadimiya bozorgi, a big old house, with the E's at the end of the whole thing. So the reason I bring all this up is that this stuff confused me years ago. And I was at a linguistics conference recently where there was a poster. I think it was somebody from Stanford. If you're out there, if you're watching, please correct me if I'm wrong and leave a link in the chat. But it is not that, right? There's yek, which means one, the number one, can be reduced to ye, and then that interacts with e in a different way. But when we look at this textbook, he's not saying a little with like kami. It's yek kam. So a little chasteast. And it's got little brackets here saying chastast. So chaste goes away. Let me take a look and see. If you look at a Persian word, could you assume its pronunciation? Maybe. It's kind of like Yiddish, where if you look at, a lot of it's spelled where you can actually pronounce it pretty well, but then there's a ton of loan words from, in this case, Arabic instead of Hebrew, but they don't have vowels. Also, a lot of this, it's hard to say. So I have sight words at this point. If I scroll up, I know most of these. But for instance, if I'm looking at, let me get my little pen here. If I'm looking at, let's highlight a word. Let me make sure it's visible for you all. So if I'm looking at yek kem. Yek, that's pretty easy. But theoretically, that could be like yak. I don't know, yak. And then this could be kom, could be like any of the short vowels. There's not that many vowels, but it's still definitely possible to make a mistake here. But then some of them are fairly, like this could be chuste, chiste. It's chaste, but it's, once you know it as a sight word, it's a little bit easier, but it's not something that you can just do. All right, so alo, Alidron, salam, chatari, khubam, merci, chot chatari. I stopped studying Persian in 2014, 2015, in part because I could not figure out u and o. Whether it's tu or to, whether it's chun or chon, whether it's khub or khob. And I did an entire study of Persian vowels. I have a working paper in the Penn Working Papers in Linguistics. And I still have no idea what it was. So it's really something that at this point I'm just going to say to because they say to. But write it in the textbook. But I hear all sorts of stuff. I have no idea what the regional differences are, the age, gender differences, if there are any, if it's free variation, if they just both sound kind of the same to everybody. No idea. So he's asking after family, bad nistam, merci. So we're going to see negatives. Hastam, nistam. Bad nistand. So yes, maman khuban, bad nistand, merci. Shomot chetorin. Khanevade khuban. And Hame Choban, merci. So also good, thank you. Chob. Notice he says chob, right? Why chob? they just taught us khub. This is a thing with Persian. I am now going to let that go, but I just want you all to see it so that you can see it and validate for me that this is a real thing that happens. And nobody seems to have, a clear explanation of why khob or khub, or really even be aware that they're spelling them differently some of the time. Yek kyam chaste ast. So this is one I want to hear. Let's listen to this. A few minutes later, CD1, track 17. Okay, let's see. Track 17. Open with, let's do Audacity again. So audacious. Oh, can we do this again, but in French instead? Bien sûr. Although I will say my level in French is significantly higher, so if I'm studying, maybe it'll be helpful for people. I'm not sure. Okay, let's start here. Telephone. Okay.
الو.
علی جان سلام.
سلام، چطوری؟
خوبم مرسی. تو چطوری؟
بد نیستم، مرسی. بابا چطورن؟ مامان خوبن؟
بد نیستن ممنون. شما چطورید؟ خانواده خوبن؟
همه خوبن، مرسی. خب، احمد چطوره؟
یک کم خسته است.
از چی؟ از زندگی؟
نه بابا از کار. خیلی تنبله.
Here are the answers to the questions I asked you earlier.
Okay, I don't care about him talking. So I highlighted, I circled here merci because he doesn't say that. He says mamnun. So, this is not to criticize the textbook. I like it a lot. It's my favorite so far. But you got to be on the lookout for these things. So bad nistan merci, shemot chetori, khanevadeh khoban, and I feel like he said an interesting vowel there.
الو.
علی جان سلام.
سلام، چطوری؟
خوبم مرسی. تو چطوری؟
بد نیستم، مرسی. بابا چطورن؟ مامان خوبن؟
بد نیستن ممنون. شما چطورید؟ خانواده خوبن؟
That's interesting. Let's hear that again.
شما چطورید؟ خانواده خوبن؟
Khanevadeh khoban. It's almost, this may have just been a misfire. He says kub.
خانواده خوبن؟
No, he says khub. Okay.
خانواده خوبن؟
I actually hear that at first as like an aspirated ka, like kub, but he's saying khub.
خانواده خوبن؟
Khanevadeh khoban. Okay. À la prochaine fois. Okay, yeah. All right, so let's see. Shemot chetorin. Hame khoban merci khob. So he says yek kem chaste. Chasteast. Chastast. We've learned chaste is tired earlier.
خوبن؟
همه خوبن، مرسی. خب، احمد چطوره؟
یک کم خسته است.
از چی؟ از زندگی؟
نه بابا از کار.
نه بابا.
خیلی تنبله.
Okay, so a couple
همه
things.
خوبن، مرسی. خب، احمد چطوره؟
یک کم خسته است.
از چی؟ از زندگی؟
نه بابا از کار. خیلی تنبله.
He says tambal, not tanbal, which is regressive assimilation. It's something that we should expect. Some of the other grammars actually do talk about that. So the joke is, what's he tired from? Is he tired of life? And he says, na baba, as kar, from work. He's very lazy. So always, great vocabulary to start with. We have some terms. We actually have mamnun in the vocabulary list here, so that's helpful. Khanevadeh, knew that. So, basic stuff. Let's go and look at some language and cultural notes. So, the short, I'm fine, you're fine, they're reintroducing this. Instead of man, khub, hastam, we get khubam, khubi, khube, khube, khubim, khubid, khuban, or khubin, khuban. This is great. These are the personal endings for other verbs. So we have just learned how to conjugate things for all persons, not tenses though. That's great. So shema khubin, khuban, easy. Like I said, I'm going to skip through some of this because I want to get to some fun stuff for me. So man injom, to enjoy, u injost. This is just vowels in hiatus. If you haven't watched my newest video, watch my newest video. I talk about vowels in hiatus. We got the word hungry, gorosne, which is actually what's really important here because I will likely, if I'm speaking Persian, be Gorosne. I will be going to a restaurant or something. So gorosneam or gorosnam. And then we get the negative forms. Nistam, nisti, nist. So easy. You have the endings on nist. Perfect. Na, negation. We can just keep that moving. Exercises, which I will skip. You can, if you're learning Persian, do the exercises. But I'm going to do some other exercises on my own. So, Shoma khubin, shoma doktorin. Okay. Let's look at the question words because this is not what is usually taught in older or more prescriptive grammars. And this is where you can really see the Indo-European family resemblance. Have I tried memorizing the irregular plurals in Farsi? I should just do an irregular, like memorizing the irregulars live stream. Just sit and do all those. There's all sorts of fun stuff in this. There's light verbs. If you're not familiar with a light verb is a verb where you have like the verb and then you have another word that gives the verb its meaning because the verb doesn't have any meaning. So like faire in French is a light verb. Do in English is a light verb. So like I'm doing the dishes. You have to have the dishes there for it to make any sense. You can't just be like I'm doing and expect somebody to understand you. Or I'm dishes. That one might work. So let's see. We have che, which is what? Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with processes in historical linguistics, ka before high vowels, that's e, a, that kind of stuff, high front vowels rather, ka becomes cha. It just happens over time. That's why in German the word is Kirk, and in English the word is church. You get ka, then you get kya, which you hear a lot in Persian, and then you get like cha and cha. So the C represents a cha sound here in the transliteration, but this is all kind of related. So like che is like ke in Italian. Chi, literally the same as in French, right? Qui, who is that? Chi is the colloquial what up here. So that's, let's see, they have two different spellings. Since I'm going to be speaking, I'm going to be using chi. And let's undo that. Doot doot. K is when. Kodum is which. Let's see. Chero is why. Ro is a direct object marker, so this looks like it's like a for what reason kind of thing, like the what why that a lot of languages do. I see Indonesian here have a hard time with the throaty sounds in Arabic, but Persian pronunciation sounds far easier. I love the Persian accent. They have like, you know, an unvoiced trilled R, like it's great. It's beautiful. It's why I keep coming back to it, even though I never make a whole lot of progress. So today, I got to make that progress. Chator, how? You notice the Arabic T here, but it's not like a ta. It's just ta in Persian. Chegune, how, that's more literary. I probably don't need that. I'll just file that away as like passively recognize. Kujo, ku is where is it? So that's colloquial, so I should listen to that. Jo must mean like place. Injo is here, kujo is where. So jo must mean like a place. I see in the chat, sometimes I see ro like R, I'm going to say R and V, Vav, instead of, what is that, Resh? Is that what they call it? I don't know what it's called. I skipped that chapter today. And Aleph. So yeah, it's pronounced Ro sometimes instead of Ra. Formally it's Ra, but in sort of informal speech, or I guess Ra, don't take my accent. Informal speech, it becomes Ro, or sometimes O. And hopefully we'll see that in this textbook as well. So chand, how many, that's absolutely clearly cognate with like quanto. Chanto, how many, is more colloquial, so which sounds like quanto to me, so that's going to be easy. Chanto. Chagad, how much, and chandvakt, how long. Vakt is vakt is borrowed from Arabic as well, and I know that from like khosh vaktam, like nice to meet you, which is literally like pleasant time I am. Okay, note, they normally carry the sentence stress, and then you get like is tacked on at the end, and they've spelled it. I love it. They don't write asked, he just writes it with a little H kind of dude here. So chie, kie, who is it? Chitore, kujoin, where are you? Chanto machine, how many cars? Yes, thank you in the chat. Somebody said draw is space. I see is the sort of T. I'm just saying T's and B's and all that stuff. Is it not aspirated like in Arabic? It's like a T in English. It's they Farsi is written in the Arabic script. There's a lot of loan words from Arabic, but they're all fit into Farsi pronunciation. So there's a lot of these that are like za instead of like ta or like da. You get just za, sa, ta. All right, can you say these in Persian? I'm gonna try it. One, how are you? Chitore. Formal. Hale shoma chator. These are the same. There's across the line. So how are you? I'm not bad, thank you. Bad nistam, merci, or bad nistam, mamnun. How are you? Formal. Hale shoma chator. I'm a little tired. Yekem chasteam. Right? We just saw that yekem, which is new for me, but it makes more sense to me than the more foreign version. How's mom? The English is foreign to me here too. How's mom? How's dad? I'm gonna guess that's gonna be like asking if she's good. I guess I could say maman chetore, right? Like how's that? Or I could ask if she's good, but she's fine, thanks. So, khube, merci. How are the family? Khanevade chetore, right? Seems right. Khubam, merci. Or khub. I guess the family, was it their fine? Would it be khuban? Or would it be khube, the family is fine? Somebody let me know if you speak it. I have a friend that teaches the Farsi at the Defense Language Institute. I love the DLI. I can ask him a technical language question if you want to go to answer. Amazing. I would love just the contact. I was thinking about just dropping in next time I'm out that way and just asking questions. Be like, hey, I'm a linguist. I do stuff on Farsi. Like, can we, just recreationally, can I just pick your brain on some stuff? Let's see. I'm just going to keep moving. Ahmadi is mingling among his guests. He's just met a new face. So here's the thing. What I might do normally is, before I go on to that, I might look at these. I have all my question words and they're all here. They just dump these on you. So I might start just putting together sentences. And one of the things that I like to do is, I don't really have a lot of adjectives, but I noticed, yekem chasteam or yekem chasteast is, I'm just scrolling while I talk. That's something that stood out to me. And I'm like, I don't have that in my repertoire right now. So what I might do, and what I will do right now to model this is just swap out adjectives, swap out words. So I might say, man, I don't have to say the man here, but yekem goros neam, right? I'm a little hungry. Yekem tishneam, right? Thirsty. That's Farsi, right? Somebody tell me I'm still speaking Farsi. And then maybe I can ask like some other questions. They're going to model some questions for me. So I'll continue. Let's look at, by the way, here's a good way to do this. Let's look at the English first, then the transliteration, then listen. And that's a great way, so you already know kind of what you're getting into. Later on, the skill that you're trying to build is to then be able to listen and not need any of the rest of it. But this is a great way of scaffolding things. So one of the things I like to do is make it as easy as possible. There's a lot of research into how people learn, and making it as easy as possible is a great way to learn. So you're not like overwhelmed with trying to process too much stuff. So I'm going to know sort of what the conversation is first. Then I'm going to see what the words are. If there's anything new that I need to flag or structures that I need to flag for myself, then I'm going to go back and listen. So hello, I'm Ahmadi. What's your name? I can probably say that. Ismi shamo chetore. No, not chetore. Ismi shamo chie. Hello, I'm Bezadi. Pleased to meet you. So this is good stuff. Same here. I'm guessing that's Manam Hamantur. So how are you? How's your health? I'm fine, thank you. How are you? Not bad, thank you. I might go and look at the vocabulary first and then do this, right? Pointing to some pictures on the wall, B asks, who's this gentleman? That's my father. Your father's very handsome. May God preserve him. This is a great time to talk about how Farsi has some politeness forms built in. So may God preserve him. This kind of stuff sounds normal in Persian. It is not as like sort of dramatic. So you get all this stuff like, your servant is here at your mercy, and like, may God preserve him, and may I be your sacrifice, and all this stuff. And it's just fossilized expressions that don't sound overly dramatic in Farsi, but in English they are a lot. So thanks very much. Who's this lady? That's my mother. So this is still highly constructed. Let's look at the vocabulary. Ahmadi is a family name. Esm is name. That's cognate with Shem in Hebrew. Like Semitic comes from Sem. Chi, Chie, we've seen these. Bozadi, Choshvakt, pleased. So good time. Choshvaktam, pleased. So I'm guessing that's pleased to meet you. I see people saying, let's see. I'm looking at the chat. Gotta ask, plural noun forms are reserved to definite, as you said. What happens to the adjectives? Is there noun-adjective agreement when the plural affix is present? No. My understanding is that they are bracketed with, so they're you have the izafa construction where you have a that links the adjective with the noun that it's modifying. And by the older way of doing things, you would either have like a house, adjective and adjective and adjective. So khanei, bozorge, qermez, whatever, qadimi. Or you would have khanei, bozorge, qermez, qadimi, I. I still don't know. Like, I'm going to learn here how people actually say things now, but I know that there's this change where people are using yek and ye more than using the clitic e at the end of a whole noun phrase. All right, so let's see. Hello, bonjour, bonjour. Bonjour à tous. Love the Pemsler method, but I have to see the words since it's easy to mishear words. Yes, thank you. Pemsler I never got into because I got to train my ears and I don't know what I'm listening for. Okay. Let's see. And that's why I like this one. I got the English, I got the transliteration, I got the Persian. Okay, khosh vaktam. Hamintur, hol, holetun, mamnun. Let's see. A lot of these are repeats. Pedar. You can see how it is related to English if you squint. The P and F are pretty close. Like, that's a correspondence that happens in a lot of words. D and like da and tha is a correspondence. So pedar is cognate with father. Pedaram, my father. Pedaratun. So we're getting into possessives. Mashallah. Okay, may God preserve him. I'm going to need to hear that said correctly. Khosh tib. Khosh tib. It sounds like khosh, which is good in Persian, and then tip, like in French, like, hey, c'est un type très khosh. Khosh tip. I'm going to remember that. Khosh tip. This is how I try to bang stuff into memory. Khosh tip. I make a connection. Maybe it's not a legitimate, valid connection, but it's a connection. Khosh tip. Chanom, which he said chanom in the previous lesson. Modar, that's cognate with mother. Easy. Modaram. Appartement, that's borrowed from French. Computer. Freebies. Adresse. These are all freebies, which means I have to take a moment to remember them so they don't just go out one ear after they've come in the other. Meliyat. Don't know that. Nationality. Shomore telephone. So shomore telephone number. That means shomar is number. Tarikh, from Arabic. Tavalod, birthday. Tarikh tavalod. Date of birth. And they have here, this is interesting. So va, and colloquially it's pronounced o. I see padar is used in Afghanistan too. Yak is used in Afghanistan. Yeah, I feel like a lot of these grammars have stuff that's just like about 100 years old. The E in Iranian Persian becomes an A. So is that like tarikh tavalod? Is that what you're saying? You can let me know in the chat. I can learn Dari at the same time. I might as well do it. All right, so I'll go back to this with the vocabulary I have and see. Okay, let's see. I'm pleased to meet you. That's probably khosh vaktam. Same here. Manam hamantur. I'm guessing. Let's go up again and see. Khosh vaktam. Manam hamantur. I'm nailing it. All right. Khob. Halatun chatore. Khobam merci. Shoma chatore. Bad nistam mamnun. Okay. In agha kiye. In agha kiye. This gentleman, kiye. It's French scrambled, right? Qui est cet homme? Cet homme-là. Okay. Un pedaram. Pedarame. Okay. This is cool. So let's break this apart. Pedar am e. پدرتون ماشاءالله خیلی خوش تیپند. خیلی ممنون. این خانم کیه؟ اون مادرمه. Okay, let me delete these and find out what track this is and see how they actually say it. CD1, track 20. Okay. I'm having fun. خیلی خیلی خوش وقتم. Somebody leave me in the chat how to say I'm having fun. Because I suspect it's not خوش وقتم. That's but it seems like it could be. I don't know. All right, let's break this up into chunks and listen.
سلام. من احمدی هستم. اسم شما چیه؟
Okay, اسم شما چیه? اسمی. Is that what you all heard? I heard اسمی. Let's stop.
اسم شما چیه؟ اسم شما چیه؟
I heard اسمی شما چیه. And I know it's supposed to be like اسمه. Yeah, اسمه. So it's so اسمی شما چیه. I wonder if that's the influence from the sh because you pronounce your tongue's a little higher there. اسم شما چیه. Coming up on the end of my time today, but I'm having a blast. داره خوش میگذره. داره like to have. داره خوش میگذره. I'm having fun. That's important.
سلام. من بهزادی هستم.
Okay, so we got our introductions.
خوش وقتم.
خوش وقتم. That's an important one.
من هم همینطور.
She's really pronouncing those H's. Everyone I know who speaks Persian is like, man ham hamintor. Man ham hamintor. Okay, let's just keep this going.
خب حالتون چطوره؟
خوبم مرسی. شما چطورید؟
بد نیستم. ممنون. خب حالتون چطوره؟
That H is just barely hanging on. حالتون چطوره? Notice he's using the plural for her, right? حالتون instead of حالت. There's, I think, one last thing that I want to show, just because I'm trying to remember this, is the simplification of the plurals and the singular for the possessive. I see in the chat, why do I play them in Audacity? Is it part of my academic or personal study based on the waveforms themselves? Yes. I use Audacity and then Prot if I really want to look at the spectrogram because Prot I try to avoid, but I use it all the time. Audacity, I like looking at the waveforms and it's just relatively easy. I use it a lot to clean up audio. Like if I were doing this for myself, I might actually break these into individual sentences, make flashcards in Anki, and I would clean up the audio. I'd like get rid of noise. I'd make the amplitude a little bit higher, and then I'd cut up the clips and put them in a Anki deck. And then do like close deletion for the sentence where I'd prompt myself to say something, fill in the right word, and then at the end, hear it.
خب حالتون چطوره؟
خوبم مرسی. شما چطورید؟
بد نیستم. ممنون.
Okay. I might go a little bit longer than 3 o'clock because I've just been informed that it is nap time in the rest of my appartement. So, might as well keep going.
Pointing to some pictures on the wall, she asks,
این آقا کیه؟
اون پدر
Listen to that affrication, right? Kie. That's great. این آقا کیه؟
این آقا کیه؟
این
اون
آقا
پدرمه.
کیه؟ او پدرمه.
اون پدرمه.
اون پدرمه. So that's my daddy.
پدرتون ماشاءالله خیلی خوش تیپن.
ماشاءالله خیلی خوش تیپن. That is great. That is a great compliment. So your father, may God keep him, is so handsome. I didn't know because there's A and B. I wasn't expecting the woman's voice saying that.
پدرتون ماشاءالله خیلی خوش تیپن.
پدرتون ماشاءالله خیلی خوش تیپند.
خیلی ممنون.
این خانم کیه؟
اون مادرمه.
That sounds like an afterthought.
here are the answers to the questions.
Yeah, okay, here are the answers to the questions. Dore mizare as time is passing. So dore khosh mizare is like I'm having a good time. Okay, love it. Have I tried studying Georgian? I have not. I see it's your white whale right now. I bet. um, I should do that at some point. I don't know. I might have a textbook for it kicking around somewhere. All right, so this is still, I'm learning a few words here, but this is still kind of things that I've seen before. But this is important to get the politeness and important to get these other elements down. So we use plural verb forms when talking about an older person. This is common, but also like, man, can you imagine trying to do that in the United States in this day and age with everybody so upset about, singular they, just they as a politeness marker. Babochatore, how's your dad? Grammatically correct, but socially inappropriate. Notice it's not baboye, like baboyeto, right? Your dad, baboyet. It's babochatore, the dad, the baba. Babochatoran is polite. So that's like both parts of this are kind of interesting. One, that it's plural as politeness. And two, that like in Zulu, for instance, you don't say like your father, you just say, father. The magical functions of ezofe. So ezofe is, it just links everything. So we have a couple things. Telephone jack. That's not a telephone jack. That's Jack's telephone. Telephone shama, esme shama. So just all your possessives. Somebody asked earlier on, if you're still here, they asked if vowels are written. This is what the vowels look like when they are written. That little dude underneath the the word. And you'll notice that's just one of the vowels in case it was unclear. Telephone jack, telephone shama, esme shama. I'm assuming telephone shama is also like your call. So can you give the Persian equivalents of these phrases using ezofe? Of course I can. My car, moshine man. Moshin is cognate with machine in English. It's borrowed. That for some reason was very common. Telephone man, my telephone. I think you can say. Can you say telefonem? Somebody let me know in the chat. I see some good questions about is it mizare or mizare? Ezofe kardan means add. Okay, that's fantastic. Yeah, ezofe kardan means add. So that's a light verb. Kardan is to do, and ezofe is the part that gives it its meaning. So his or her name, esme u. Our flat, appartement. I love that. Their computer, computer. That sounds wrong. Computere un is not right. It's got to be like. Is that right? Don't know about this. So, ishun maybe, right? I feel like computerishun is a different approach to. There's a couple of different approaches to possessives here. With foreign names, no linking sound is normally added. So George Nixon, I love the transliteration. And then we have linking two nouns. Filme Titanic. I was just watching the Crash Course series on YouTube on media literacy, and they got Jay Smooth talking about Titanic every single episode, so this feels like it's tied in. Filme Titanic. Chiabane Oxford. Okay, so Oxford Street. Medane Oxford. Medan must be circle or skur. I think I have an older version of this textbook. Russell Skur. Medan. So Medan has got to be a square or circle as used in the British sense. Medan Vanak in Tehran. Mahale Tavalod, place of birth. I get it. Okay. Tarikh Tavalod, date of birth, and Jashne Tavalod. Jashne Tavalod. Okay, birthday celebration. Got to get my vowels right. Noun and adjective. Filme bad. Filme Titanic. Filme bad Nist, right? Telephone Hamra, mobile telephone. I assume, is Hamra like same journey? I feel like that breaks down to same journey. I see esh can be used for possessives. We're going to see that soon in this textbook, I'm sure. Telephone Hamegani. So public. Seems like Ham is also doing like same kind of thing here. Appartement kashang, a nice apartment or flat. Regardless of its function, if it comes after a vowel, you just have a glide. You have ya. So cinemoya, Iran. or irun, joya shamo, your place. Ah, so whoever put that in the chat, you were correct, but also I feel like I get points for having figured out that jaw means place. Baboye khub, man baboye khube. Baboye khubam. Mu is hair. I will remember that from thinking of like one of those super hairy oxen. You know, like they got the big horns and then just matted fur. And they say mu. It's gonna be my mnemonic. Muyeman, my hair. Chune, chuneyamo. Our house is a very, very, very nice chune. Shomore is number. Shomore telephone. Okay, so we got all these. You know, this is nice. Choose a word from each set and make pairs. The first one's been done for you. So they're giving us some vocabulary. Can somebody in the chat tell me, since I have people who are experts here, I love this. I learned siyoh as black and sefid as white. And I see here meshki as black. Synonyms, different meaning, like somebody tell me. So we got film, bobo, moshin, mu, lebos, which is cognate with Arabic, probably borrowed from Arabic, cognate with Hebrew. So like you get some French, you get some Hebrew, you get some Arabic, you get some Russian. It's great. One of my favorites is palto, which is a word for a jacket. Comes from an obsolete word in French that was like huge in France in like the 1700s. A paletot, which is also the same word in Russian. Okay, chune, house. Boo, smell. How am I going to remember that? Boo. I guess ghosts can't eat things, but they can smell things. I don't know. Bad, chub. Boland is long. Bozorg is large. Meshki, bur is blonde. Blondes are smelly. I don't know. Bur. And chic. That's from French. Okay, easy. Let's see. Anyone know a good Persian English dictionary? You know what I use and I haven't used yet, but I might as well take this moment to actually use. I just rely all the time on Wiktionary, which I would say Wiktionary, but they definitely say on their page that it's Wiktionary in the IPA. So let me exit full screen. Let me go to Wiktionary. Now's a good time if you're still here. Like, subscribe, you know. And also, I didn't mention I made some merch because I really wanted to mash up the Californian flag and the sort of older flags of Iran, Persia, and so I did a Californian and Iranian flag mashup that. I am going to be wearing on a hat, but I've made it possible for everybody else. So let's see, that's Russian bags. Let's see if Google is just good enough that I can type it in my own transliteration. Did I mean meshki? I did. Black. So I use Google Translate and I use Wiktionary. Search Wiktionary. Meshki, Persian. From classical pronunciation, mushki itself being mushk, musk, and the adjectival suffix e from the archaic sense of the color blood red. So that's shifted. So meshki, black, and archaically blood red. Synonym, sio. So I'm so glad I clicked this because I'll remember meshki from musk. Let's see. Persian, sio. From Old Persian, from Proto-Iranic, from Proto-Indo-Iranian, and it's not really giving me a lot to work with here, but let's see. Also black, brown, dark brown, and I'm not going to go to further descendants. So I love this stuff. That is, I tend to use Wiktionary for most things. All right, here's the possessive endings, and I think this is great, so let's take a look at this, and then I'm probably going to wrap up pretty soon, because this is a fair amount for me to remember. I'm going to give myself a little bit of homework. I got to remember hair, I got to remember blonde, I got to remember meshki. Is meshki, like, primarily used for hair? More formal, synonyms for the colors, siyo and meshki are the same, tendency to use meshki for refreshing color of clothing, so the boss is why, you know, these are here. So mashine siyo or mashine meshki. Muye, what is blonde hair? Muye bur. Chic dress. Simla. Not simla. That's not simlat. Pirohan, right? Pirohan is chic. Buye khub. Good smell. Long hair. Okay, we're having fun. Okay, check this out. This is the possessives with soup, because who doesn't like soup? I'll just imagine it's oshirashte. And I've been informed the links to the merch are not around, so I will add those later on, and I'll add them in my next live stream. So first of all, we have soup here. Oh, by the way, you know what? I can add it pretty soon, but also everybody here, I'm going to have a discount for you all. So 10% off, code Farsi, Farsi, all caps. If you like the merch, buy it, and don't forget to add 10% off with the code Farsi. And if you don't like the merch, then you don't have to buy it. All right, so soup, root word, delicious, ashirashte, delightful. And now let's look at this. You have singular, supam, supet, supesh. So this seems like it's a and then there's a little bit of like vowel and hiatus thing going on here. And then m, t, and then sh. Supam, supet, supesh. Supemun, supetun, supeshun. So breaking this down, it's exactly the same. This one's even normalized because it's no longer the stressed syllable in the ending, and you have un as a plural marker. So this is like really, really regular for possessives. Am, et, esh, emun, etun, eshun, very, very regularized. And when I talk about breaking things down, this is like, you know, one part is the root, one part is, honestly, this is like just a linking vowel, it seems. Then you have the consonant that tells you whether it's first person, second person, or third person. And you have an additional like closing syllable, un, that tells you that it is plural. So it's highly, highly systematic. And I find this really, really delightful. Also, it's like you have these suffixes and all sorts of stuff. So in literary Persian, he says it's a little bit different. Some of the above are pronounced slightly differently. Supat, supash, supemon, supeton, supeshon. So the on goes to un. That's a normal thing. And then it looks like singular has a, supam, supat, supash, and plural has a, but that's been regularized in the colloquial language. This is great. So I think, to my wife, to Zanam, if you're watching right now, you can text me and let me know. Keep going. Since it's nap time, I feel like I'm learning a lot. Or wrap it up and add links for merch. I'll await the call, the text. All right, so let's listen to something. Let's see how to say mine and yours. Mol is property, so mole man, property of mine. Mole shamo, yours. Mole kie. So in mole kie, this. In un, ino, uno. In shie. What's this? Un telefone. That's a telephone, you dum-dum. In telefon mole kie. Whose phone is this? Let's see. The word stress is an important thing in Persian. My understanding is it is, but it's also predictable, which makes it way nicer than English or Russian. Un telefon mole mane. That telephone is mine. In un telefono. So this is still definite. And I have a question. Is the un at the end of the our form related to the on ending for new in French? No idea. I have no idea, but that's something that would help me remember it. Just making those kinds of connections. So there you have it. Okay. How to say so / nor am I, so / nor do I, man ham hamintur, manam hamintur, ali am hamintur, moam hamintur. So ham hamintur is two. T-O-O, me too. Ali also. Ali ham hamintur. I feel like I need to get some more listening in because I can already hear my accent starting to like get worse and worse. Can you say these in Persian? Yes, of course. All right. Let's do a listening comprehension. This morning, B, a Londoner, received a phone call from an Iranian colleague, Ahmad Kazemi. So we have questions, but we don't have the translation. So let's do this together. Salam, Ahmed Kamezi hastam. So hi, I'm Ahmed Kamezi. Salam, haletun chetore. How are you? So one of the things I'm saying is like French, right? You got to ask how somebody is. You can't just talk at them. خوبم مرسی حال شما چطوره بد نیستم مرسی کجایین where are you London that seems like we're gonna see how they say it کدوم hotel freebie okay هتل تهران تنهایین did we learn تنها or is that coming up no that's in another chapter تنهایین نه پدر، مادر، خواهر و برادرم هم اینجا هستند. So تنها must be alone, right? Single. I see his word order a little flexible in Farsi. My understanding is in literary Farsi it is, but in spoken it's less so. But you can still do a lot of the things that you can do in other languages, like fronting something for emphasis and stressing it, or contrastive focus. Okay, hoteletun. So we've seen that hotel etun. Kujost. Kojost. I feel like we're going to say Kujost, but we're going to find out. Where is it? Khiyabane Regent. Nazdike Meidane Oxford. So near Oxford Circle. Nazdik, you can come up with your own mnemonics for this being close, nearby, something that you want to be close to. But Nazdike Meidane Oxford. Hotel Chitare Badnist Kucheke. Amokashange. So small but nice. I do like how they write it here. Like I really like this where kuchek e. I would do it with a hyphen in between, but this is kuchek e amo kashange. So amo, that's either this is where you get in trouble with these listening things. It's either it's small and nice or it's small but nice. By the way, logically and but are the same in like formal logic. It's just that socially one carries contrary to expectation, but they both mean and. There's a whole sort of pragmatic analysis that you can do there. I'll leave it as an exercise for the viewer. Somebody asked, why did I say Kodum and Hoteletun but not Terun? Because I'm reading it, but I should say Terun, right? That would probably be more consistent. And I'm trying to just say uns all the time. So Fesenjun, Irun, Esfahun, Terun. Let's give a listen to this. CD track 22. Again, if you like this book, you can, of course, purchase it. And I would encourage that. I don't want them to not like me because I like them. Let's see. Open with Audacity. And this will be, I think, my last one for the day. So this is going to be the British guy talking.
Unit 2.
Unit 2. All right. So...
there are some specific...
Nope.
سلام احمد کاظمی هستم.
I will say I wish they didn't make this artificially sound like the telephone. But what I can do is just at least amplify it.
سلام احمد کاظمی هستم.
سلام حالتون چطوره؟
خوبم مرسی حال شما چطوره؟
بد نیستم مرسی. کجایید؟
She said kujoi, didn't she?
کجایید؟
She says ko. Okay, I gotta get that wax out of my ears.
کجایید؟
Kojoi.
کجایید؟
لندن.
Kojoid.
کجایید؟
لندن.
I see in the chat estan or estun is a very useful suffix as in place. I see naughty mnemonics for nazdik. I was trying not to say them myself, but that's absolutely an effective mnemonic. And also, there's a fair amount of research that like naughty mnemonics, probably a great name for a textbook, naughty mnemonics work because they activate your brain a little bit more. Violence, sex, drugs, rock and roll, it all helps.
کجایید؟
لندن.
Of course, violence, sex, drugs, and rock and roll are exactly why I'm not allowed in Iran.
کدوم هتل؟ کدوم هتل؟
Do you all hear kodum or kudum?
کدوم هتل؟
I hear kudum, which is probably the it's probably like, vowel, the nearby vowel affecting the initial vowel, the affecting ko.
کدوم هتل؟
Kudum hotel.
هتل تهران.
تنهایید؟
نه، پدر، مادر، خواهر و برادرم هم اینجا هستن.
هتلتون کجاست؟
خیابان ریجنت نزدیک میدان آکسفورد.
هتل چطوره؟
بد نیست. کوچکه اما قشنگه.
Okay. I hear Kodom. I see Kodom in the chat, and people hear Kudum. Yeah, same. All right. This is kind of an interesting thing to listen for. I have to remember Tanho. Trying to think of maybe something more effective than naughty mnemonics. But yeah, this is some good stuff. So I feel like today, let's wrap up. What have we covered? We covered some greetings, we covered some listening, and I got some words that I need to remember. So as an exercise for myself, right now, I'm gonna say, what are, to quote Ali G, what is some of them? For those of you who haven't seen Sacha Baron Cohen interviewing Noam Chomsky as his Ali G character, it's a delight. He talks about, he says how many words are there in English, and Chomsky gives him like an attempt at a legitimate answer. Then he says, how many words do you know? And he tries to give an answer about, how many words an average speaker knows. And he says, and what is some of them? All right, so for me, I just learned some words. What is some of them? Tanho, single, right? I said gorosne and tishne for hungry and thirsty. Those are important. Choshvaktam. And what did I say I was going to remember? I was going to remember stinky. No, not stinky. A smell. Could be a good smell. Bouye khub. I was going to remember bur for blonde. I haven't learned other hair colors except for meshki. And meshki related to musk. Nazdik for nearby. So I gotta remember these things. Please share German naughty mnemonics. I don't know. I gotta do like, I have naughty mnemonics in every language. It's just all like, whatever works, whatever lights up those neurons. So yeah, I think that's what I need to remember for next time. Next time I might, doing my Persian time, I might be a few chapters in. Hopefully I will be, because I have about a month and a half and I want to get up to speed. So I'll try to live stream as much as I can. Professor Lyon, you're right here as I'm wrapping up. And then I see, after studying all these languages, have you changed the way you speak? I have a better vocabulary, that's for sure. But people think it's pretentious, so I try not to use it. We were talking at the breakfast table this morning about, French words in English that are English words now, but people don't use, like soupçon. And I always joke. I love doing this. When people say something's pretentious, I like to be like, no, prétentieux, because I find it ironic and fun. All right, so yeah, we're doing great. I'm going to have an accent, obviously, but hopefully I will get this together and have some colloquial speech. The main thing, what's the structure I got to remember? Yek kam chasteam, yek kam gorosneam, yek kam, I don't know, I'm a little bit smarter for having studied this. I see short O in Persian can sound like closed O or U. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. So I'm just going to try and simplify, and I'll go by whatever the textbook says. The problem is when the textbook says chob and chub, I got to pick one or figure out when it is. I'm going with chub. It seems like chob they use in interjections and chub everywhere else, but I'll find out later. So with that, I'm going to add the little merch link. It's the Republic of California flag. I made a hat that I will be buying because I think it looks amazing, and sweatshirts and stickers and so on. If you don't want to buy it, that's fine. But I love it, and I figure for all the stuff that I make for myself, I might as well share with all of you. There is that promo code, so 10% off with code Farsi, capital FARSI. And I'm gonna hopefully see you all soon. Tomorrow I will be live streaming all of the vowels, and then I'm going to use lessons learned there and questions answered there to finally finish up that YouTube video on the vowels IPA. But I will do all the vowels in every language which is kind of a gimmick because it's going to be all of the vowels in the International Phonetic Alphabet and then talking about gradations between them. So hopefully I'll see some of you there. If not, enjoy your days off, your holiday, whatever it is you're doing, wherever you are. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, a wonderful day tomorrow, and see you all soon.